Hey guys, good evening. So, what did we do in the last class? Okay, so let's open our same notebook. Let's upload data and just run the entire notebook. Okay, so I have uploaded data. Let me just run entire notebook. Done. So, loading libraries, domain analysis, basic checks, and then we did data cleaning and also EDA, writing insights, and we did handling outliers. So we have two different methods. One is IQR method, another one is a three sigma rule. I hope you guys have understood. The same steps have to be followed whether it's a regression or a classification. So I'm going slow. It's enough like one project to understand like how it works. Same way you can try building the different projects. Only thing the model building will be different for different things. That's it. Okay. And okay, I guess we were doing encoding, right? The process of converting text to a numbers. Because machine cannot understand the text data. So it should be converted into a number format. So for that, we have a different method. In that first method is a label encoder. It assigns values from zero, starting from zero, according to alphabetical order. Limitations. When order is important, when equal priority should be given, your label encoder fails, right? So it's always good to go with yes, no, true, false, positive, negative. In such cases, it performs really good. And we applied label encoder on a smoker column. We created new column. We'll drop the old one later. And then we did one hot encoding, which basically gives equal importance to each category. So it's going to create two new columns. Sorry, it creates columns as many categories. How many ever categories you have, so many columns will be created. Okay, and using pd.get as we do it, you can do with sklearn as well, but this is more easy, so I'm going with this method. And then we have two different approaches. One is ordinal encoding, another one is a target encoding. So tell me, what is ordinal encoding? What is target encoding? What comes to your mind?
Ordinal means some order will matter,
Hmm.
and
So order
target
matters, rank matters.
and target mean we will target specific column. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Comparing with a target, like how important it is with a target. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So yesterday I gave an example like educational qualification. Usually, when it comes to UG, PG, and PhD, we cannot give equal importance because all the degrees are not the same, right? And also, we cannot go with a label encoder because it treats UG as like highest priority, so which is actually wrong. So here, order matters. Less importance should be given to our UG. The next highest importance should be given to our PG, and then the next importance should be given to the PhD. Now it makes sense, right? So we call this as an ordinal encoding. Ordinal encoding, in the sense, it just converts your categorical values into a numerical values based on their order or a ranking. Okay, whichever has got a highest ranking, highest importance, that will get a bigger number, and less importance will get a lesser value. Got it? Understood. Order matters.
Yes.
Okay. So this could be done with the help of an sklearn. But if you look into our data set, is there any column where ranking matters? No, right? Only region is left, but still we cannot give ranking to a region. Shall I give example here, like general example? Is it okay if I give it here? Not related to a project, but general example. You can do manual mapping, or else if you want to automatically assign values, then you can just go with a ordinal encoder from sklearn. Just an example, is it? It is okay. It's not related to your project. Just an example for your reference from sklearn dot pre-processing. You can just import ordinal encoder. I'll just define that ordinal encoder, initializing it. Okay, and let's take a simple data frame. I have pasted it in a chart. Okay, this is our data frame, and we are importing this. And what you can do, you can, inside ordinal encoder itself, you can mention the categories. You can mention the order. Okay, so order should be what? What should be given the less importance? So UG, PG, and then PhD. You have to tell the order. Okay, and then normal approach. You just have to fit it. This is your DF. I'll just create a new column education, which is equal to ordinal encoder dot fit underscore transform, and we'll be passing the column DF of education. So it's a capital E. This is your column. We're creating a new column. Expected two-dimensional, but got a okay. You use a double bracket. Single bracket means it will be in a series format, but here you have to pass in a data frame format. Still, what's wrong? If categories is an array, it has to be of shape and features. where it's mismatching. Education, education. Shape of and features. Oh, okay. Again, one more important thing. Even this categories has to be passed within two brackets. That's a mistake. Yeah, done. Div. Can you see? Clear. If you don't want to do something like this, you can also do the manual encoding. Manually, you can assign a values. Is this clear? Using ordinal encoder, did you understand? Be careful about brackets. If you don't want to import and if you don't want to do all this drama, this is first method. I'll show you second method. Manually assign values using map. So how do you do it? Using map. Okay, so I'm just creating new column again, and I'm just calling it like a short name, which is equal to. You have to fetch your column, which is df of education dot map. You have to pass values in a dictionary format. Okay, UG0, PG1, and then PhD. This is how you assign values manually. This is so easy and simple compared to above method. When order matters, when ranking matters, so you can go with an ordinal encoder. You can use function from sklearn, or else manually you can start assigning values. Done? Understood? Any questions? Clear now. It's good to go with a map. Map is a bit easy.
Yes, clear.
Okay. So now coming to a target encoding. What is target encoding? Sometimes you can capture a relationship between your feature as well as a target column. Okay. By comparing its relationship with a target, you can actually replace with a either mean value, or else you can also give specific order based on a ranking, like how it's related with a target, like which has highest importance with the target. Accordingly, you can do the manual mapping. So that's what we call it, like a target encoding. Okay. See, in this case, um, we assign numerical values to the categories based on its importance with target. So in our case, coming to a region, we'll see like in which region the insurance charges are high, and accordingly we'll do the manual mapping. Okay. So first thing, let's try to plot a graph in order to see the relationship with the target column. So PLT dot figure of fixed size equals 5 comma 2, and then I'll just use SNS dot baplot passing data comma x equals, so I'll be using region comma y equals charges. So I guess region capital R, not sure. Let's try. Yeah. So which has got the highest importance?
All look same.
So it's a southeast, no? First importance, then northeast, and then south. Sorry, northwest, and then southwest.
Yeah, but
So again,
difference is very less.
yeah. So based on its importance, I'm creating new column with capital R region, which is equal to, I'll be calling a region column data of region dot map, and I'll do the mapping now. So northwest has less importance, so I'll be giving 0, comma, next southwest, no? It's a 1. Northeast will give 2, and then southeast will give 3, like this. Okay, print your data and show. Can you see? This is how, based on categories importance on a target, we just assign values. Manually, we are trying to assign a values.
Okay.
So, which all columns I have to drop now?
Do we have SQLN for that?
Original smoker and region.
No, no, no SQL for this.
Oh,
The original smoker and region column we have to drop.
Okay, so you know how to drop data dot drop. I'll be mentioning all the columns. Okay, so the smoker,
or we can segregate like based on.
you can
Uh,
filter it, yeah. Or else you
yeah,
can drop. Dropping is easy. Or anyways, yeah, you can select the columns. Even
yeah.
that works. Your wish. You know different methods. You use whatever you want. That's all, no? Only two. Yeah.
Yeah, in the beginning, you showed us like if you want to select this numeric column, you need to use this, and for object you need to use this, right?
Which, where?
In the beginning you showed us, like if you want to select,
Specific columns, no?
yes, like for numeric column, this data
That,
type will
that
be,
is like filtering, no? Filtering based on a data type.
yeah, so we can do the
Selecting.
same here. No need to drop
No,
that df.
no, it was selecting numerical categorical based on a. I showed it for heat map, I guess. No, but still I used a numerical only. But you have two different approaches.
Okay, okay.
Okay, this is one way. I'm dropping permanently, so I'm using in place equals true.
Yeah,
If you don't want
why
to do
I'm
like this,
saying, yeah, sorry to interrupt you. Why I'm saying this, like it's not practical in like dropping the original your data frame. So better to segregate and then continue your analysis.
one and the same. You can either list out all of these within your data frame like this. Okay. Or you mean like selecting only numerical columns and dropping rest.
Yeah,
Fine.
you showed us with D type. If
Yes, D
object,
type.
then
Select D types here.
yes.
But still usually we drop it. Dropping is best.
Okay,
Or else you can filter like this. Or you can use select D type as well. Your wish. Even this gives you the same answer.
But for filtering, we have to create another data frame.
Mm. No, like it's like fetching only columns and then you have to assign to a new variable. Yeah.
Yes.
Instead of that, this is the best option. No? Go with dropping whenever you don't want columns.
sure.
All good. Cleared about encoding.
Yes.
What if you have a column with date? How do you encode it? Even dates cannot be used directly by ML models, right?
So if it has date, then dataset will be the time series. Then all concept will be changed, right? Or I'm wrong. If
So
you want
basically,
to,
you have
yeah,
probably you need to extract like year, month, and then you can pass it.
okay, okay.
Because even time series can handle a year, right? Year or a date column. So when it comes to an year, it's already in a numerical format, so you can directly use it with the ML models. No need to encode it.
Perfect.
But usually it comes with time series stuff only. But still, if you could see, you can extract an year and you can treat it like a numerical and you can pass it to your model. Guys, all good related to encoding? Any questions? Majorly, you use label encoder, one hot encoder, manual or a target. Manual target one and the same. Like manually, you try to assign. But in a target, you look into the target column and accordingly you will assign the values. Okay. Important to understand when to use what is the limitation, when it fails, when it works. So this is how you have to learn, not just like how to implement or what is it. Many a time the cross questions usually comes in interviews. Okay, yeah. So this is done. The next important thing, scaling. So what is scaling? So scaling is like usually applied on a numerical column. So what it does, it's a process of bringing all numerical columns to a similar range or a scale. It's just like if I'm teaching machine learning, I should have a similar mindset people, bringing everything, everyone with same knowledge to the class so that my class will be like very smoother. Same goes here. When you have numerical columns, in order to bring all the numerical values to a same scale or a same range, usually we use a scaling concept. Scaling helps in bringing all the values to a same scale, which helps machine learning algorithms perform better and faster. So now you might have a question like why scaling is important. Okay, let's say you have a two columns. Why scaling? Let's try understanding it. Let's say you have two columns. One is an age column. You know how the values of age will be, and also the salary column. So when it comes to an age, usually it will have a smaller values like 20, 30, 40, something like that. When it comes to a salary, salaries are all bigger values or a larger values. It will be usually salary starts with 25, 50,000, 80,000, and so on. It can increase. It will be a bigger value. So now what will happen now? When you have two different numerical columns and one with a small range and one with a very large range. So basically what happens? Algorithm will give more importance to a salary because it has got a larger values. Getting?
Yes.
That's the reason we bring everything to the same scale. Algorithm gives more importance to larger values in salary. Again, it creates a bias. More interested towards a salary, it learns more about a salary than who will learn about a age. So that's the reason to overcome this, we use scaling approach. Okay. And when it comes to our scaling, we have two different methods. One is a standard scaler, another one is a min-max scaler. Many people know two different scaling methods, standard scaler and min-max. Many don't know why we use it. That's important. Give example like this. You can take different example also. Even in our case, BMI, age, a lot of variation. We have to bring them to the same scale. That's where scaling plays a very important role. So two types of scaling. The first one is we call it like a standard scaler or standardization or a z-score scaling. So types of scaling. Standard scaler, min-max scaler. Okay. So what is standard scaler now? What is standard scaler? What it will do? It transforms when you apply that on any column. Okay, it transforms all the values to a same scale where mean will be 0 and standard deviation will be 1. It is going to transform all the values to a same scale such that the mean of that column will be 0 and standard deviation will be 1. Variation will be 1.
This is also called normalization or standardization.
Yeah, it is called as a standardization.
And normalization as well, or no?
Normalization for min-max. Even standardization or a standard normalization in the sense like making They're different. Standardization, mean will be 0, standard deviation will be 1. We also call it like a standardization or a standard normal distribution.
Okay.
Normalization is a different. Okay.
Okay. What is normalization?
Min max scalar, I'll come to that.
Okay. Okay.
Is this clear? Understood? What will be the formula? It uses a formula, okay? Standard scalar formula. You should have a knowledge of formula as well. It transforms all the values such that the mean will be 0 and standard deviation will be 1. This is a formula it is using. Z-score formula, x minus mu divided by sigma. This is the formula it will be using for every row, and it will be bringing all the values to a same scale using this particular formula, where mu is a mean, sigma is a standard deviation. Okay. Shall I show how to implement? I'll show both the methods, but you have to use any one method. It's all about a trial and error method. So these scaling methods plays a very important role when it comes to our distance-based algorithms like KNN, K-mean, SVM. So in these cases, scaling plays a very important role. Okay. For tree-based algorithm, not really required, but for distance-based algorithm, when it's finding distance between two values, it's always good when you bring them to a same scale. Yeah. So how to implement again? So I'm creating copy of my data just to show you like how it works. So I'm using df1 equals data.copy. Just create copy of data. Okay. Since I'm showing two approaches, I'm creating copy of data. Done? How to implement? Any one approach should be implemented. Just for your knowledge, I'm showing how to implement both. So from sklearn dot pre-processing, let's import standard scalar. Again, everything is available in sklearn. Okay. And then you have to initialize your model. So what after you initialize? So on which columns I need to apply now? Only age and BMI. Apply scaling approaches only on our input variables. Don't apply it on a target. For target, we have a different method. Okay. So since we created df1, so df1 of two columns, you can do it individually, or else you can do for a multiple columns as well. Shall I show doing individually?
So can we
Or if
do
you want,
cloners as well, like for
sorry.
smoker, and Can we do for other column
No,
as well?
why do you do it? Already it's 0, 1 only. Now, only for a continuous columns you have to do it. And don't even do for a children. Again, children has got a discrete values. Okay, if you see lot of variation among the values in a columns, only select such things.
Okay, let's see. Please do.
Yeah. We are taking just age and BMI, which is equal to standard scalar dot fit underscore transform. And again, I'll be passing the same columns. No need to change column names and all. You can do it in our same. Let me show you. Can you see? Your age and BMI got transformed into a same scale. So since it's a standard scalar, so it can take some positive as well as a negative values as well.
So you see here, it convert to in points like 0.5. So
Hmm.
if let's say we do for other columns, it will also scale on the same scale, right?
Yeah.
Instead of 1023, it will scale on the same like age and BMI. Can you
Yes.
try?
For children,
Yeah, let's say for example for
not really required. Not much variation you have in our children.
okay, sure.
It's anyhow nearby, no?
Okay, okay, sure.
So you can skip for children. For discrete columns, not required. Only when you have huge variation, continuous columns, go for such columns. See, even in our region, we have 0, 1, 2, 3. Children also, 1 to 6, something we have, that's it. Understood? This is standard scalar.
Yes.
Next approach we have is min-max scalar. This is called as a normalization. Standardization means mean will be 0, standard deviation will be 1. Min-max scalar in the sense. So again, this converts everything to a range of 0 to 1. Okay, it's a normalization technique that scales data into a range of 0 to 1. All the values in a column will lie within a range of 0 to 1. That's the reason we call it like normalization and the formula. Let me give a formula. It uses formula something like this. You need to remember formulas for interview perspective. When you do projects, you need not write formulas and all. Just for your reference, I'm giving in this project. You can just give a heading and you can just directly apply it. Clear? So it uses a formula x minus x minimum divided by maximum minus minimum. Maximum minus minimum. Clear, understood.
Yeah, I have one question. So, do
Hmm.
we check the distribution of the column before applying the scaling?
No, not required.
Okay.
Clear? Will implement? We'll do the implementation. So we'll create a copy or we'll directly do on our data. So from sklearn dot pre-processing, I'm showing both the methods, but when you do a project, you have to implement any one method. It's all about trial and error. You try with first method, you see model performance, then you try with second method and you see the model performance, compare and select it. No specific reason like this to use or that to use, nothing like that. Okay. From sklearn dot pre-processing, try importing. So min max scalar. I'll just call scalar equals min max scalar. We'll apply directly on our data. So this is data. I'm calling age as well as a BMI. So I'm proceeding my project with a min-max scalar, but you can try with standard scalar as well, your wish. I'm calling se dot fit underscore transform. You have to pass the columns. So it brings everything to a range of 0 to 1. You can print data and you can cross check. Can you see? No positive, no negative values here. Only values will be within 0 to 1.
Vision still showing 3, 2. Even children.
0 to 1, nah. Point 3 is within 0 to 1.
Yes, so 3 is not between 0 to 1, right?
Where is 3? 0.3. Only for age and BMI I have applied.
Okay, okay. Okay,
Point 0.3 it is, not a 3.
okay. I thought you applied on all the data.
No, no, only on age and BMI. Guys, clear? Understood?
Yes.
Any question related to scaling you can ask. No questions? All good? Okay, next important step. This concept comes only in regression. Okay, it's not applicable in classification algorithms. Only in a regression, this concept is going to work. We call it like a transformation. So, what is transformation? Feature transformation. So, what comes to your mind when I say feature transformation?
You will transform the feature.
How do you transform?
This is we are going to see.
Okay. So feature transformation is all about converting data from one form to another form, which makes data more suitable for your machine learning algorithms. Usually, why we use it? Many times, your data can be skewed, or it can have an outliers, or a data can have a non-linear relationships. Okay, to handle such situation, usually we use transformations. Okay, when I see transformations, usually applied it on target column. Scaling will change the range, transformation will change the distribution itself. Okay, so basically, as of now, I'll be applying this feature transformation only for a target column. Because one of the assumption of linear regression is it expects data to be normally distributed. Okay, it expects data to be normally distributed. So in that case, the feature transformation plays a very important role. So commonly used in linear regression, especially for a regression based algorithm, just trying to bring the non-normal data into a normal form. Okay, so feature transformation converts one form of data into other. So that means it focus on changing the distributions. So when to use feature transformation? Use whenever your data is skewed, outlier exists, and distribution is non-normal, and usually linear models will perform poorly, so we use it. Okay. So when it comes to a feature transformation, we have a different methods.
So, sorry to interrupt you. I have a few questions here. So you
Sorry.
said that I have a few questions here
Yep.
regarding this transformation. So we already dealt with the outliers, right, in the early stage. So,
See, outliers are basically handled.
hmm,
Okay. But when it comes to a target column, usually feature transformation will be applied on a target column.
okay.
Okay. So I will say when target, that's the reason I said it is applicable only for this. When target data is skewed. If you have looked into your charges, okay, histogram. Can you see? We handled outliers, but we didn't change the distribution, right?
Yeah, we handled
It's
outliers
a right skew.
yes.
It's a right skew. So usually whenever it's a right skew, now I need to bring this back to the normal distribution. That's what your linear regression is expecting. Okay, data should be normal.
So if it's okay, I got you. But the thing is, this is the data. It is
Yes.
like
Target call.
this is not like it's actual data. So I don't know how we will. Okay, maybe some other algorithm will help us with this.
No, no, no. Usually we apply it only on a target column.
Yes, let's say this
Let
is
me change the definition. Converts. Okay, non-normal distribution of target column into normal. Because no need to do it for input columns because already scaling is applied. No point in doing it again. We didn't do
yes.
anything on a
I
target column.
my confusion is I got you. My
Uh,
confusion is if let's say the rule we set yesterday, if outliers are more than 5%, then we will not touch it, right?
mm,
So is it
exactly.
apply here or not?
We are not touching it. Yesterday we didn't touch because there were like so many outliers, right? Even now
Okay.
we are not touching. We are just transforming the distribution. That's it.
Okay, let's see.
Okay, I'll show like how it works. Take this definition. This is actual data distribution of a charges. So now I'll be applying log transformation. So when I say log transformation, just applying log function. That's it. Like this, you have you can apply the exponential. Okay, you can apply the square root, something like that. But I'm going with the log transformation, which is really good. So simple. I'll be calling your charges, which is equal to. Okay, so np dot. I'm taking log function from a numpy. np dot log, and I'll be passing a column. That's it. Okay. Now let me plot a graph and see the difference. This was before transformation. After transformation, it looks like this. Don't you think it's somehow a normal?
Yes.
That's a interesting thing related to your log transformation. You can see the charges. So before it was in thousands, now it has become like very small values. That's how the transformations will work. Usually we use a log. Clear?
Basically, it's different than outliers, right? Handling
Yeah,
outliers.
it is just compressing your larger values to a smaller values. That's it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I got it now. Thank you.
When you make it smaller, the distribution will be closer so that it achieves a normal distribution.
Yes, yes. In outlier handling, we were changing the value.
Exactly.
Here we are not changing the value.
Yes. Outlier will be done on all the columns, but feature transformation will be done only on a target column. Scaling done only on a continuous numerical columns. Okay. Guys, cleared about the transformation?
So let me repeat it. This scaling will be done on continuous column, numerical continuous, and this transformation will be done on target. And the first one, outlier handling, will be done on input only, right?
Outliers done on input features, input continuous features, columns. Okay. And then scaling done on input continuous columns. Okay, it's done on both input as well as output because we did for charges as well. No? Outliers done on all continuous columns. Scaling done only on input continuous columns. And third one, log transformation applied only in regression on a target column. Clear? And encoding done on categorical column.
Can you please show me this outlier? I think we did only on input.
No, no, we took charges as well.
Can you please go back?
After this,
This outlier handling, just want to.
DMI and charges. I did for both.
Hmm. Okay, thank you.
Guys, clear? Making sense? Log transformation should be applied only on a target column, just to bring non-normal or a skewed data into a normal distribution format. You have exponential and some other square root and all, but log transformation was best. Clear? Okay, what next? Next important step is a feature selection. So what do you do under feature selection? When it comes to a feature selection, drop columns which are not important, like ID column, okay, unwanted columns. Those things can be dropped. Second thing, you have to drop a constant columns. No point in including columns which has got a constant values, right? And also, if required, you can create a new columns as well. Let's say, for example, you have a date column. What if you want to create an year column? Or like according to scenarios, like what if you want to create some new columns itself using formulas? You can do that, but for this data, not required. And fourth important thing, okay, drop columns, okay, and select and drop columns based on correlation. Based on correlation. Okay. Drop columns which are not really important. In this case, all the columns are important to us. No constant columns. No need to create a new columns. Already all data is available. Select and drop columns based on a correlation. So now I'm going with a heat map, okay? So for that, I'll be selecting a data. Only numerical column should be taken for a correlation. So you might ask me like even these are numerical, right? But they are like encoded ones. So you have to consider only these four columns. Understood? Actual numerical column should be considered for a heat map. So I'm fetching data. I'm fetching columns, these many columns. These are all continuous, okay? So now, first step, I'll find a correlation. You don't understand anything. So plot a heat map. SNS dot heat map. So yeah, df dot correlation. And also give comma annotate equals to. Yeah. Do this, I'll show like how to select features based on a correlation. Done. Yeah. Okay. So now looking into a correlation. So what do you try to find here? First thing, always understand whenever you have so many columns, so many numerical columns, you have to include columns. You have to include columns which has high correlation with target. If correlation with target is less, very less, is very less, near to zero, we can drop them. No point in including such columns. This is applicable whenever you have so many columns. Okay. Include only the features which has high correlation with the target. So by looking into this, look into this. So age has high correlation, BMI 0.14, children 0.16. But anyhow, we have very less data, so obviously we have to include everything, no other option for us. But when you have so many columns, in that case, you people can drop the column which has very less correlation. Clear?
Yes.
Next one. Next thing is if correlation between any two numerical variables is high. I'm not speaking about a target now. If correlation between any two input variables is high, let's say you have two columns like square feet and a area. Don't you think both are same?
Yes.
Yes.
Do you think we need to include both?
No, we can drop anyone.
Oh, we can drop one of them, right? So that is understood with the help of a correlation. If correlation between any two input variables is high, we call it like a multicollinearity, one of the assumption of a linear regression. I'll discuss in upcoming class. If correlation between any two input variable is high, drop one column. Drop one of them. Getting for example, if you have both area and square feet, you can drop one of them. No point in including the columns which gives high correlation, but in our case, it's not giving. A BMI with children, it's very less. Children with BMI is less. Age with children is less. Age with BMI is less. They're all unique features, no dependency. They're not related. Understood how to read heat map.
Yes.
Any questions? It's applicable only for the numerical columns, don't apply for categorical. Clear? Understood?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So this is all about, the first level of your machine learning project. Till here, it's all about preparing your data and selecting the best features. So in our data set, all the variables are important. So I'm going with all variables. So what next after this? Very important step. You have to split data for X and Y because it's a supervised learning now. Your model should understand what is X and what is Y. So what should be our X and what should be our Y?
Charges will be Y.
Y is charges and except charges, everything is on input. So we'll use drop. Except charges, everything remains like an input. This is X, no charges here, and this is Y. This is how you're gonna split your data. Clear? Understood? Once you split data for X and Y, the next important thing, you have to split data for training and testing. Because we don't use all data for training. So we'll use some of the data for training and some of the data for testing. Okay. So usually we use 70-30 or 80-20 rule. Some amount of data will be used for training and remaining will be used for a testing. 70-30 means 70% of the data will be taken for training and 30% for testing. Similarly, 80-20 means 80% of the information taken for training and 20% taken for testing. Okay, we don't do splitting, automatically happens with sklearn library. So from sklearn dot model underscore selection, just import train test split. See, everything happens with a library. You should know like how to use it, when to use it, and you should be able to justify why we are using that. Many people fail at that phase. Many know how to do it, but many don't know how to explain. So what matters in interview is explaining what you are doing. Okay. So it gives us four things. Because we have X, we have Y. So again, X will be divided into training testing, Y will be divided for training and testing. So four things: X train, X test, Y train, and Y test. Use the same order, which is equal to train test split. Okay. I'll be passing my data X and Y, and you should define how much should be used for a testing. So we'll use 20%, so I'll say it's 0.2, 20%. And then every time I run this code, it should not shuffle much, it should not shuffle much. It should maintain the what I can see. It should control the randomness. Okay. So it should produce the same samples every time. Like whenever I keep running, like every time it should not generate a different input, different training set and different testing set. So what will happen? So every time your model will deviate. So let's control the randomness. So I'm using a random state. Usually people use a 42. That's like a standard value that has been used. No logic. It's just a commonly used number. You can use different integers as well. But that's a traditional number which everybody are using to control the randomness. Okay. So when I say random state controls the randomness. Randomness in the sense, every time the sample should remain the same. It should not change. Okay. Well done. If you want, you can check the shape, xtrain.shape. Your actual shape was this. 80% of 1337 is this much. If you want, you can check the shape. So we'll do model building today itself. Shall I show how to build a model?
Okay, sure.
Yeah. So once you split your data for training and testing, so now you are ready. Now it's a time to build linear regression model. You know what is linear regression? Used to find linear relationship between dependent and independent variable. So it's a multilinear regression concept, multiple variables we have. So again, we learned it's going to find the best fit line by finding the best values for M and C, right? So it's very simple. For every machine learning algorithm, the model building happens in just 4 lines of code. Very simple. From sklearn, I'll take linear model, okay, and I'm gonna import my model name is linear regression. Done. Okay, then I'll just initialize my model. That's it. First you will take a model, you'll make it ready. Okay. Once you make your model ready, you have to train your model. A training model is very simple. You'll call your model which is linear model dot fit. What should be used for training a model now? Which data should be used?
Xtrain.
Yeah, both X and Y because it's supervised learning now. For training model, we have to use X train as well as a Y train. That's it. Done with training. That's it. 3 lines of code. So once you train, what do you have to do?
Test the model.
You have to test a model. So how do you test? So testing in a sense, we are making predictions, right? I'll call it like YPred. So YPred equals call your linear model dot predict. So what should I pass for making predictions? For training, we passed X train, Y train because it's a supervised learning. For testing, what should we use?
X test, Y test.
Only X test should be used. We give just an input, so it should be able to make a predictions now. It should give an output now, right? That's it. So done with the prediction. Clear?
Yes.
So now, how do you know the predicted values are correct?
With loss,
We compare, right? What should be compared now?
actual target and the predicted one.
Okay, what is actual target now?
This Y train, Y test,
Hmm. Should be compared with Ypred.
Y predict. Yes.
Okay, let me show you the comparison. I'll create our results data frame, results equals. I'll just use pd dot data frame. We'll create our dictionary. So I'll call actual Y. Okay, colon. It's a Y test, no? Comma. So predicted value Y hat. So let's choose Ypred. Let me show you the results. Can you see? This is your actual value and this is a predicted value. This is actual, this is predicted. This is actual, this is predicted. Can you see there is a slight variation in our predictions, not much.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Hope it's clear till results. Any questions? That's it. 4 lines of model building for all the models. First, you import, you will initialize, you will train, you'll make a predictions. Now you just compare your actual and a predicted by using a different metrics. Okay, metrics I'll discuss tomorrow. I cannot today. And what is the goal of linear regression? What is it trying to find?
I'm
MNC. Yeah, I'll show like how to find. Your model has been built now. You want to see MNC values? Simple. Call your model dot call coefficient underscore. So it's giving all the slopes, and to find the intercept, just call linear model dot intercept. See, one single C value and multiple M because your data has multiple columns. Now for every column, it's giving a slope. Slope of age, slope of BMI, slope of children, slope of charges, smoker, this. You use all these values, write a equation, substitute X values, it will work. It will give a prediction. We don't do it manually because so many columns, right? We use a machine learning for that. That's it, simple. Model building is very simple. Only thing is understanding is important. Okay. Now, how do you know that this model is good?
if loss is less.
We don't find the loss, we evaluate the model. For evaluating model, as I said in our last class, we have a different loss functions and metrics like we have MSE, we have ME. Again, it has a different formulas, but we'll be using just libraries. RMSE we have, mean absolute percentage error we have, and then we have R2 score, then we have adjusted R2 score. So these 6 metrics, first 4 helps in finding overall loss. These 2 helps in knowing how good is your model. If you evaluate, you are done. Clear? Understood?
Yes.
Any questions?
Think a small question.
Mm. Please ask.
We built a model. After that, what will it means? What is the real use case of this? So we'll give a random value
I'm
for
coming
that.
to that only. Like you have to evaluate it, okay? You'll
Okay.
get to know how good is a model. If model
Okay. After
performance is
that.
not good, because like you'll be using this model to make a prediction. It's like I'll train you and then I'll conduct a test. I'll get to know like how well you have learned a concept. If your scoring is less, I have to look for some other ways to train you better. So for that, we have a different ML algorithms. So we need to explore different algorithms. We need to implement a different algorithms. So after implementing all different algorithms, we're gonna select the best one. Once you select the best one, you can build an application, Streamlit application, which basically helps you in making predictions.
Okay.
Just a minute, I'll show you. Just right after I teach you linear regression, I'll show you how to deploy it on a Streamlit so that you'll get a familiarity. I don't know whether it's active or not. Can you see?
Yes.
I'll show you how to create an application like this. Even you people
Okay.
can use, you can make up predictions. We built an application like this wherein you select all the fields and if you click on a predict charges, it will predict the charges for you.
Okay.
Instead of humans sitting and analyzing applications and making predictions, so we can just automate things like this. So, you know, the predictions can happen with a machine learning instead of human intervention.
So we'll select only one model to deploy, right?
If you want, you can give multiple models as well. But usually, only we will have a knowledge, right? When I give this application, you people don't know anything about this now. You'll be just entering values, you'll be making up predictions. So that's the reason we select the best model. If you give an option of selecting models, people might not know like what is that machine learning models and all. You know because you learned it. Understanding?
Yes.
So I'll use one best model and we'll try to build this application. So building this application also using Streamlit based on whatever steps we have done so far, accordingly you have to write an application. That also I'll show. You can write independently the Streamlit application without taking AI help. It's so simple. So same thing. Once you write an application, you deploy it on a local first for testing. Then you push it to a GitHub. GitHub to Streamlit. Streamlit works on a cloud. You people are able to make up predictions because it's deployed on a cloud. Same way with Azure AWS also. If you have an access to those accounts, you people can just create an instances. When it comes to an Azure, you have to create a resource group and then just connecting the GitHub. So it will deploy. And then you can use that URL in order to make up predictions and can be shared with anyone. Streamlit free one, even this link can also be shared with anyone. Even others can use a link and can make up predictions. Got it?
Yes.
This is the real use
So
case.
front end will be anything like an Django
Sorry,
portal on Streamlit or Azure, right?
sorry. I missed. Come
So I'm
again.
saying this front end should be anything like Streamlit or Django portal or
If
Azure.
you have a knowledge, you can use a Flask or anything you wish. But Streamlit is easy because already we are exhausted learning so many skills, right? We don't have time for learning different tools. If you
Yeah,
have
yeah,
tools, front
I
end knowledge, you can use them.
oh, great. Just I'm thinking like from my perspective, if I build something, so we have our in-house Django portal, so
You
I
can try
can,
to.
yeah, yeah, I will try. Okay.
Because I don't have, I know only Streamlit. Okay, so I need to discuss metrics, assumptions, advantage, disadvantage, and then we'll discuss about underfitting, overfitting, and then we have regularization and regularization algorithms also And finally, we have a concept called as a gradient descent. Yes. So if I teach these topics, we'll be done with linear. Today is Tuesday, no? Wednesday, Thursday. Okay. You want me to show deployment right after this or after teaching logistic?
What's your opinion?
What's
I have taught you regression 1.
Okay.
Um, I'll teach one classification.
Okay.
Together, I'll show how to deploy 2 applications.
Okay. Great.
Then I'll proceed with different algorithms for the same data. Will not be doing any pre-processing again, taking different data sets. You will be building projects because I don't
Okay.
want to waste doing same thing again. Even you will feel it boring.
Okay. Sure. So you mentioned that
Mm.
your statistical course will be live short.
Still, I've not started it.
Okay.
Let me try this on by next week.
Sure. Sure.
Okay.
which one? Statistics, huh?
Starts course I need to create.
Any notes you have, Jyota, for that?
I'll create a course itself, man.
Okay, okay. No,
I'll
if any
launch
notes is means course, it will take long time to go through it. Everything. Notes means few pages in there. I can.
no short videos only, just like my Python. Or else for your reference, you can use Statology site as of now if you want to explore. But so many
Okay.
things. Yeah.
Okay. You said you will create. Okay, later we can.
I'll create a course and I'll give free access.
Okay, done.
I've not
No,
started.
Drive link I got to ask for that. Before you used to share now that Notepad plus all everything notes like
Uh,
Python and for
no, by
statistics
Pandas
also.
not. No. Starts it being very long. I taught in data might only. After that, I never got a chance.
Okay.
I'll create our notes as well as our videos as well, and I'll share
Sure.
probably by 20th.
Okay, no worries, no
Yes,
urgent.
it's not it's related, but I'm anyhow covering outliers, handling missing values, mean, median, interquartile range, all those covered. Extra, you have hypothesis testing, so no worries, you can
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah. Actually, this hypothesis testing I am focusing on as well. Therefore, I just asked you about this. And
Sure,
maybe after 3 weeks, we can have 1 week break to just brush up everything because we will be covering till
yeah.
ML.
I will
Great, great.
by 20th for sure.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so yeah, we'll try
I think
finishing
I have a
this.
question.
Sorry, yeah, is Pavan.
Yeah. Here we have predicted some values. So these are the values in the scale form. So we have
Mm.
already log transform. So
Mm.
do we need to convert this in the
You saw
main
in my
form?
application, no, it's even
Yeah.
though we trained model with log transformation, it's predicting it like a normal.
Okay.
Because in a backend, you have to write a logic. Opposite of log is what? Exponential.
Exponential. Yes.
Use exponential so that it converts log values to normal values. Also, that's what even this also see like user will enter smoker yes or no, but we have
Yes.
trained model with 0 1. Again, you have to write a logic for encoding. You have to write a logic for scaling.
Okay.
Okay, I'll show that. Don't worry.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
If possible, I'll show writing application. So I want you people to install VS Code. You people have a knowledge of VS. Install VS Code with Python extension.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Sure.
I'll share a video so you can just install by next week so I can show it. So you will learn deployment along with algorithm only. So let's not wait till end to do the deployment. You can do it. Meanwhile, you can take different data sets and you can start building models. So from next onwards, like after logistic I'll show end to end again. After that, for remaining algorithms, I'll show only how to implement for the same data sets. So you will understand what is that algorithm, how to implement, how to evaluate. And you have a lot other things like hyperparameter tuning and all when it comes to advanced. And then I'll give some list of data sets. You people can individually start doing it. Hardly 2 days to do one project. If you sit with, if you have understood all these things, so definitely you can finish a project in 2 days. Okay. Okay then. Thank you. Thanks for joining. We'll catch up tomorrow.
Thank you.
So practice all these, whatever I taught today.
Sure.
Okay. Pranati getting?
Little bit because I am kind of understanding logic, but
Mm.
all syntax and all pandas libraries and everything is completely new for me. All terminology are like I have heard in engineering or somewhere else, but
Mm.
I'm like 40% I'm getting.
Okay. You just practice. You are done with my
Yeah.
pandas course, huh?
No, I'm on Wild Loop. I think next is Pandas only.
Okay. You start pandas.
Yeah, I'm going to start because
Spend some
I'm not.
time in learning a
Yeah,
Python. Still for
yeah,
loop, you know, na? That's enough. Okay.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
half an hour or 1 hour spend on that, basic Python, and
Yeah.
remaining time spend on a pandas. You'll understand quickly.
Okay. Yeah,
One
I'm,
by
I'm
one.
going to finish it maybe by this weekend because I like a lot of things are from Pandas, so I can understand when you write statement
Yeah.
and logic and everything, but it's just that basic is not clear. So yeah, so that's why I will have to practice
It's
a
okay.
lot.
Even code, it comes with the practice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you'll get it. No worries. You are understanding now. Just keep practicing in a same manner. It will work.
Okay. Yes,
Okay.
yes, definitely.
Practice
Okay.
pandas first. It will work you.
Okay,
Thank
okay.
you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks. Bye. Yeah.